sorry for me being late, and thank you for not removing my chair.
Well, it's never too late.
So I'm somehow like, I see myself after all these stories as a good concluding point, because I would like to talk about this topic of mine, life history as decolonized non-allied memories, because I have a life history that I would like to share with you. And I will somehow try to explain you why I think it's somehow relevant for my research and how it's connected with all these stories. So I was born in Yugoslavia, Socialist Yugoslavia. I was the first generation not to be pioneer, so now you can Google when was that. And then when I was like 4, I moved with my family to Libya. So I was like a Gastarbeiter that people are not mentioning as Gastarbeiters, because like when we are saying that all people who are working abroad are called Gastarbeiters, usually people who are working in non-West/North countries are called Gastarbeiters, while the people who are working in Libya are called Libyans, in Iraq are called Iraqis, in Syria Syrians, and something like that. So my family were Libyans, so we were living there, and then in my memory, we returned to Yugoslavia, but then ended up in, I don't know, like super strange version of Yugoslavia, because Yugoslavia was done and we couldn't go back to Libya because this country was under embargo and the flights were closed. So my father joined us after some time. And then I always was really proud in my elementary school, because everybody had a country that was falling apart when we were talking about like where we are born, and like in geography or history classes, we were always like changing maps of like our territories or something like that. But I was always really proud because I have like my backup country, I have like my territory that is really like stable. But then I guess you all know like 10 years or so what happened to Libya. So I also lost my second country because if you don't know, Libya is in ruins and it's not really functioning country. I have still some friends from there, so it's I'm saying like what are they saying to me. So if I'm lying to you, they lie to me. Or so and then when I finished my BA in tourism studies, I was really looking forward also like somehow to bridge like all these experiences and to show to that Europe that we are all like mentioning, that we here have like a specific knowledge, that we were also living in some strange countries and everything. And then first I got some scholarship to Austria. Then I learned this hard lesson of East Europeans, like how we are labeled as other and how we are subaltern and how no one is taking us seriously. We are all like bloodthirsty animals and something like that. So yeah, it wasn't really nice revelation. But then I decided to keep on moving. So I went also to US, and then there I recognized, yeah, here people don't know about Serbia. They always mix it with Siberia. So I'm cool because I'm white. So like over there you have like how I divided like 3 worlds. Like you have white world, black world, and you have like Latino world. And then yeah, you have like these natives, Asian, but they are like really smaller like minority. So over there, like after 1 month, all my fellow Serbs were like, yeah, these stupid Americans, like they don't know anything. But then after 1 month, they were all like, ah, yeah, these lazy African Americans, they don't do. So it was really like for me interesting, like this shift of like first having this like a Balkan kind of seeing the world. But then after 1 month, we are already part of the white world. And then I decided to go to Asia. So I did my master in Indonesia, and that was really like funny. I applied to continue with my tourism studies, but then I ended up doing cultural studies, and I'm sure that majority of you know cultural studies are quite neo-Marxist way of like thinking about the culture. But in Indonesia, Marxism is like forbidden word. So you can just imagine how it was like studying cultural studies that are neo-Marxist in a country that you cannot mention Marx or neo-Marxism. But it was really like really empowering experience. And also there, I get to know like there was something fishy about this Yugoslavia, because I was always saying to the people, I come from non-allied world, and they were like, yeah, well, what's that? Like they were not really aware. And then they were telling me like they know, they are calling it like non-bloc countries. And then I was also like trying to research more. So then I found out about the Bandung conference that was like preceding the non-allied conference in Belgrade. And then someone mentioned here in the panel, they also went on their separate directions. So they were also like somehow far from this non-allied movement. So I was really like losing my ground. So like, where should I now go? Like, how should I orient myself? So after some also break, when I returned here in Serbia, I decided to go back to academia. I don't know if it's the smartest move. So I have an option either to continue in sociology or in faculty of political science, and because of some pragmatic reason, I decided to go with the sociology. And I'm grateful that I learned there about like biography method or biographical approach. That's what I wanted to share you. So that's part of my research for my thesis, but also for some like side counter archiving research. So like I will just be brief, like how I see this biography method. It's like open interview. So you are meeting people and then you are just giving them the space to give you their narrative from the very early age, and then you let them speak. And for me, that was really like a revealing moment, because I really didn't want to put people in some kind of frames. So to tell them, I don't know, that Yugoslavia is the best project ever, or that Yugoslavia is the worst project ever. I really like let them speak. And yeah, I don't know if I said it, but I'm interviewing the people who had experience like in Indonesia. So because I find that close to me, and I would like also to see how they see themselves also. So I'm not researching like the people, I don't know, should I name them like Orientalists, or like the one who know about Bayang or like about all the Indonesian traditional art. I'm like trying to research people who are like my parents, who were maybe just workers there, who were also working like in embassies. So it's like, I really try to somehow decentralize it, because like also lately I would like to mention just this movie as an example. It's like Mila Turajlić movie. She made the 2 documentary movies about the non-allied movement. And for me, like those 2 movies are a little bit problematic, because they are not dealing with any kind of ideology. So she's really like depicting non-allied movement as like a brave new world where we were like going somewhere and exploring someone, and we had like the best intentions. So I'm trying like to problematize this, how like this non-allied movement was a little bit like Yugocentric, and also like what I gained from my friends, like this racial also input. Like I'm trying to see how with this non-allied we really also try to to be white or to position ourselves in this hierarchy and to say like, yeah, we are better than this third world. And I'm also like surprised how many people nowadays are using this third world, and we were once third world, so what happened? So it's also like interesting when we talk about the theories, like about unlearning and relearning. I think like here, like people from ex-Yugoslavia, we are also a good example because we learn to be Yugoslavs, but then we unlearn or relearn to be Serbs, and like there are so like many level that can be investigate. And I know that I totally lost track because I was trying to tell you about how great biographical method in sociology is. So I will maybe try like to go a little bit to that. So like 100 years ago, like two sociologists, they made a really great study about the Polish peasants in Europe and America, and that was like really groundbreaking. But then like this biographical method lost its touch because then people discovered that the numbers are more sexy. So like they were doing like statistics and everything. So and recently like I like the German school of biographical method. Gabrielle Rosenthal, she's like making this distinction between like life history that was experienced and life story that was narrated. And if you were listening to me carefully, I told you that we were like stuck in a new form of Yugoslavia, but then my mom told me we were not. Like she really hated, not she, like both of my parents really hated Libya and they didn't really want to go back there. And then when my father was back, because he was like under some contract, so he couldn't just go back when he wanted. But that's like this difference between like how we see our narration and how actually like happened. And then like when I was mentioning like this 100-year-old sociology approach, in that time they were really trying to find like objective truth and to say like they were like when they made this groundbreaking theory, they were like collecting so many materials like letters, the Catholic books, like books from Catholic Church. Then even one guy wrote his own autobiography. It was like imperative to have like this objective truth. But then like I like again this new approach because it's also like playing with this what is our version of like how we see ourselves and how we see this political changes and like ideologies and everything that was happening to us. So that's why I'm trying to use this newer version. And just to conclude, I would like to show you like some photos from my research. So I'm trying to do like this really deep biographical method with two ladies that are like in their best years, or I don't know how to not sounds ageist, but they are really old. But they are really the one who first interact with like Indonesians. So for me, it's really like interesting to know because I'm not so old, but I already told you like what was in my bag. But then I can imagine like the people who are like 50 years older than me. So it's really like a gift to hear them and hear their stories. So like I'm just interviewing like two ladies in this deeper method or like talking about their childhood and everything. Like also this new version of like biography method is influenced by Gestalt psychology therapy. So it's also like you need to be a good therapist and yeah, like a listener, I would say. And then the second one that I'm doing is like there is a society called Nusantara. They are like Indonesian Serbian friendship society, and this year they are celebrating like 20th anniversary. So they are basically like new. So they really try somehow to write this non-allied heritage. and somehow to bridge like these two nations. So I'm trying like to do shorter versions. Like I'm also coming to the people and just ask them, can you tell me like, okay, you have this Indonesian experience, can you tell me more about it? And these are like the photos that I would just like to show you. So for me, this is really like a cool example of like acculturation, or so this is like a tapestry or a goblin. I'm not also like sure. I Google it, and so it's like tapestry that was like super great hobby in like 70s, 80s in Yugoslavia. And this lady who, yeah, maybe it's not really the best picture, but she was in Indonesia and she ordered from wood carving manufacturers there to make her this frame for her goblet. And that's for me really funny, because usually they're this goldish and everything, but she really wanted like to show off and to say how she is different. So she had it with Indonesian like, frame. And this is also interesting story. Like the guys who were working in embassy, in the moment when Tito died, like one Indonesian approached them and he said, "Can you just let this guy dead? Like, can you just leave them? Can you just leave him die?" Because they were speaking all about Tito. So like after 2 months, 3 months, like all Indonesian press, they were really mobilizing all the forces to tell the people that Tito died and that they cannot really accept it and everything. So like one Indonesian approached them and told them like, just, yeah, he's dead. Acknowledge it. So for me, it's also really like interesting, because again, we are talking like 40 or maybe even more years later, and the guy is still not done. So like we are still not sure like what to do again with his heritage, about his persona, and I think it's good to discuss it, but I would really like to broaden this discussion, like not just about the one-man show, or like again what I told you, like these two models of either glorifying or like vilifying Yugoslavia. We really need to see what we did wrong also with this non-allied movement, because if no one remembers it, yeah, I'm concluding. So like this is one of the lady that I'm interviewing, like back in the days, and this is her now. And these are like photos of Indonesia that they are showing me, and I really like how they also see this like modernization processes and how Indonesia changed and how we changed, and like how they are somehow also sad that once they were something and we were something else, and now it's somehow like opposite, and what did we do wrong? And so it's really, I think, really cool to talk with the ordinary people, because they are out of this academia, like they are out of these interests, calculations, like how you should deal with Yugoslavia, why you should deal with Yugoslavia, because Yugoslavia is part of them, and they have really like also critical approach to Yugoslavia when you talk with them in this like dedicated way, when you just let them speak, don't like frame them, don't put them. And I'm really like grateful that you send invitation for help, because I'm here. So I'm definitely going also like to ask you for a help, because this was all a little bit like unstructured, but I hope you get what I wanted to say, and I'm also like looking forward for more questions, because then you will also help me to figure out like how to clarify my ideas. So these are, yeah, thank you.